What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Dude Hines Show. And this episode is a series called the 30-Minute Drill. This is the fourth episode of 30-Minute Drill. And on this series, I'm joined by my co-host, Braden Short. How you doing today, Braden?
I'm doing good, man. Going back to back on these podcast episodes, so that way we don't miss any. So I'm excited, though. I mean, we missed several episodes, so now, like I said, it's good to fill in and just talk about some more stuff that we didn't get to talk about in the previous episodes and release more content. We're always down to record podcasts whenever we're able to. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready.
In our previous episode, make sure you go check that out. We talked about lots of stuff, the iCarly reboots, coming out already, our favorite movies, and, so much other stuff. Braden, actually had a chance, be at a, baseball game, had a chance to participate on the field during a, I don't know what you call it, like a, not a 40-yard dash, but
it was called like the pancake race or something like that, I think is what they called it. I don't really remember what the specific name was, but it was a pancake race. I was dressed up as a pancake, so we'll call it the IHOP pancake race is what I believe the technical term is.
So he was able to participate in the IHOP pancake race in Charleston, West Virginia. Despite him winning, he did not get a prize, which, really sucked. He should have got at least something. But, in the 30-minute drill, we talk about random stuff. We talk about sports. We talk about movies, shows, whatever. We make crap up as we go. There's no script at all. And, part of the reason, we kind of waited so long, for this podcast, you weren't able to really do a podcast doing your previous job. Your previous job, you're actually, a former director of creative design there at Marshall University. It's really close to us and everything. Hometown college. So, what was it like kind of be like the designer, graphic design at Marshall?
I mean, it was great. I loved all my time with the football team at Marshall. I mean, it was a dream just to work in college sports. And, I worked as a student recruiting assistant for a little bit, basically. We didn't really have an official title for me. That's basically what I was. And then I got promoted to the director of creative design. So it was good, man. It was amazing being a part of the team that I grew up watching my whole entire life, and just being on the field and just being in the football facility and offices and everything with like just knowing the head coaches and all the coaches. It just seems surreal to me. The whole entire experience it was just unreal.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. You've been with them a couple of years now. You're not with them, now, but when you told me about it, and it was really exciting. It was time before you and everything. You had a chance, basically, like a dream job, situation type of deal. And you've had lots of cool stories and everything. You have any like favorite, stories or favorite, any funny moments, players or anything like that?
I mean, definitely one of my favorite moments and like the best moments that I have is just being in the recruiting office with Alex, who was the assistant director of player personnel, and Caleb, who was the director of player personnel. I still talk to those dudes to this day, and they're like basically they're my brothers, I feel like. But one of my favorite memories there definitely was this year against Appalachian State whenever the peanut punch fumble happened. I will never forget watching that play happen. That was absolutely crazy. And we were so hyped on the sideline. That was really good. Favorite stories. I mean, there are so many stories with players and everything that are just kind of just want to keep in the realm of the football facility just because I don't want to like really like leak anything too much out. But like just like the whole entire experience, there was stories all the time. But yeah, I mean, we loved it. It was fun. So yeah.
So, before you got at Marshall, you've been amazing at graphic design for years. You've done edits, it seems like forever. And, it was really interesting how you, kind of got that job. Can you talk about a little bit, how you're able to get the opportunity to work at Marshall?
So first of all, we're not going to say I'm amazing at graphic design. I'm pretty good at it, I feel like. But yeah, no. So I used to run a page on Twitter and Instagram. It was called Herd Nation News. And so basically on that page, I'd post just Marshall stuff, my Marshall graphics and everything. And, whenever you're sitting in your bed at night and you're literally dreaming of like a dream that you had, this is kind of like what my dream was. Like I always dreamed that I would be on Marshall's website on the football page listed, working in the football offices and having my graphic work being posted by coaches and everything, and by Marshall's verified Twitter page as soon as I started doing graphics. Um, and it just kind of is surreal how it happened. Mike Trier, was my guy. He was the corners coach and safeties coach and recruiting coordinator at Marshall. He's now the assistant defensive backs coach with the New York Giants. But I posted something to Twitter, and I get a message. I see this message from this guy, Coach Mike Trier, and I was like, "What?" And he says, "Let me see some of your graphic work." So I sent him some of my stuff, basically, and from there on, it just through Twitter and the power of me posting my work to Twitter, he just seen my talent that I had and seen how I wanted to work, and yeah, so I worked with him, and whenever I was getting ready to make my college decision, he told me that Marshall had a job for me there if I wanted it. And at this point, I didn't really know where I was wanting to go to college, and I had it narrowed down to two places. And I ended up choosing Marshall because it was close to home and that. But that job that I got there was another really big reason playing in that position. So just through the message on Twitter, which to me that's just insane. And it was honestly kind of funny because we were in class one time and a professor brought in a guest to talk about career services and everything. And the lady in career services was saying how you can't ever get a job through social media or anything like that, and how those are all scams. And I was kind of like, I actually got a job through social media. And she was like, "Oh, how'd you do that?" And I told her, and she was like, "Well, but they kind of knew who you were, right?" And I was like, "Nah, they had no clue what I looked like. He just seen my talent, and it just went from there." So it was kind of cool of like having a story that she had never heard of to tell her, and just the whole entire thing, just a cool experience, just a cool story of how I actually got the job.
It's really cool because even before you started working at Marshall, you would make some edits for recruits, and you look at, Bleacher Report, they have pretty much, team info on every single team. I was going on Bleacher Report, Marshall football one day, and your, edits were on Bleacher Report before you even with Marshall. That was really cool. I was trying to find, recent article of Marshall, and then I see your edit, and then I message you, and then a couple months go later on, and you're actually doing stuff for Marshall. So that, that's really, really cool. You worked your way up and everything. And, this past season for Marshall, it's really interesting because, Holiday is no longer with Marshall, and they hired, Coach Huff. You kind of spoke really highly of. You're a big fan of him. What are your thoughts on that hire, and what was it like, talking to Coach Huff and everything?
Oh, Coach Huff is great. He's a great person. The staff's great there. For me, I just had a better opportunity. So that's the only reason that I left. But I mean, Coach Huff's a great person, and I think that Marshall's going to be in great hands, and that we're going to go back to winning conference championships left and right under his realm. He's a great dude, gave me a great opportunity, and I'm forever grateful to Coach Huff for what he's done for me. The dude has a ton of energy and I felt like he was just always a ball of energy and just ready to coach, and just a really hands-on coach is what I kind of gathered for him. So like I said, I think Marshall's in good hands. Like I said, conference championship this year for Conference USA. As soon as Ohio's bet sports gambling, I haven't been able to bet on sports either at my time with Marshall, so I'm for sure going to put a bet down on Marshall several times.
Huff going to Marshall, lots of people were excited about it. And the thing about Huff is so interesting. He brings the energy that we have not seen at Marshall, and it seems like quite some time. I was really excited about the hire, and I'm not trying to be biased, and I hate being biased towards teams I like. But given Marshall a couple of years, I could kind of see a similar situation with Luke Fickell in Cincinnati, and the fact, they kind of had a decline, but Huff can kind of be that guy that brings them back to the powerhouse like we were in the 90s, and kind of similar to 13 and 14 with Cato and Holiday and everything. But to me, I'm really excited the direction that Marshall is going in. And you kind of mentioned sports gambling in Ohio. How do you have to gamble? 18 or 21?
It depends on what state you're in, I'm pretty sure. I know some states like Wisconsin and several others are 18, but in West Virginia it's 21. And that's why as soon as I left my job at Marshall, that day, my final day, I was going to place a bet on the Reds, and they ended up winning, which sucked because I would have won money. But I was wanting to bet on the Reds so bad, and I downloaded the app and everything, and then it said you had to be 21, and I was so bummed out. I was so bummed. So, but yeah, no, that was a big bummer.
Hopefully, that passes so there can be, sports gambling in Ohio. I am big on, sports gambling and everything. Not ever done it. I turned 21 just in a couple of weeks, and I'm excited. Like, I always try to find ways that I can make money without really doing much with something like I know something about, if that makes sense. Because, when it comes to like gambling and sports, I know, lots about sports, especially, college football and spreads and everything like that. But, actually be able to do it, hopefully, if that law passes, that would be huge. And, I kind of agree with you. There's going to be lots of gambling, especially when Marshall probably won the conference. And, lots of upset picks with the Bengals. Like, that's going to be a way to get lots of money this year.
Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty sure the Ohio's House just passed a bill that introduces sports gambling to the House. So I'm really excited for that. I think that would be great for Ohio. And I hope that the age is 18, because I can't wait another year to start gambling, man. I want to put some money down, but I'm not going to like overdo it, of course. But I've always wanted to do that. And I just want to do it. I want to at least gamble some money on sports at least one time.
Yeah, if I gamble, hopefully it's not as bad as that one person a couple years ago. He was in Las Vegas and he bet $1,000 on Andrew Luck winning the MVP. As soon as he gave that ticket in to the guy, so $1,000 on Andrew Luck winning the MVP. As soon as that happened, Sports Center, Andrew Luck retires. Like, that has to be the worst luck possible. Hopefully, whenever we gamble or whatever, nothing nearly as that bad, because like that. You cannot get worse than that. Basically, hitting the guy $1,000 in paper, knowing it's impossible to win. That has to be absolutely horrible and everything. So with sports gambling, possibly being passed in Ohio, OTAs have kind of stirred up, with around the league, with the Bengals as well. Hopefully, Burrow comes back stronger than ever, which kind of appears at this point he actually might, really proving doubters wrong. When that injury happened, not many people expected him to be back by week 1. At this point, it's looking like he's for sure going to play week 1. There's lots of interesting choices, for rookie of the year, comeback players such as Joe Burrow. So who are some of your, picks for maybe the comeback player of the year, rookie of the year, MVP, and, all those, awards?
I mean, my comeback player of the year, obviously, without any doubt in my mind, is going to be Joe Burrow. I don't see anybody else taking an award from him. I think he's going to have a phenomenal year. I mean, from all the videos that I've seen and from what all the wide receivers and everybody has said on the team, I'm pretty sure I think it was T. Higgins who said that he's noticed an increase in velocity on the ball. So I think that Burrow's going to win comeback player of the year without a doubt. And my MVP pick it depends. If Aaron Rodgers is playing for the Packers, I think Aaron Rodgers has a high chance to win MVP this year. I also think Derrick Henry could, but because of the situation going on with the Packers, I want to take my MVP pick as Derrick Henry. I think it's going to be Derrick Henry offensively and defensive. So many. I think I hate to say it, but I think it could be TJ Watt again, and that's just. And you can't deny talent. He does play for the Steelers, but you can't deny how good he is. I also think Stephon Gilmore, I think he could be another one that could possibly win the award again. Marshawn Lattimore, just guys like that. But for mine, I'm going to take a TJ Watt. I'm going to take TJ Watt for that, of course. I want to have to think about my rookie of the year. Let me hear your picks for MVPs and comeback player of the year.
With awards like this in the NFL, it kind of has a lot to do how your team, how much success they have throughout the season. Despite me really thinking that Joe Burrow has a chance to win comeback player of the year, I mean, we kind of talked about in the previous episode. There's no denying that the NFL absolutely hates the Bengals. And if there's a scenario where Dak Prescott, who's coming off a horrible injury as well, who has, let's say, 10 wins with Dallas, or Joe Burrow has a really nice year and they have 7 or 8 wins. 7 wins, 8 wins. Those are both under 500 records. I would see, Prescott taking that. Honestly, I think Burrow definitely has what it takes. I think Burrow can win it. Realistically, I want to probably say Prescott because I think it's more likely. And the Cowboys will probably have more wins because, like I said, there's lots of players, NBA, NFL, MLB. It always kind of determines how many wins your team has, how good they are. A couple years ago, Christian McCaffrey had one of the best seasons ever as a running back, but did not get talked about enough because the Panthers absolutely sucked that season. To me, I think the only way Burrow would win Comeback Player of the Year is if the Bengals are in the playoffs. I'm not for sure they're going to be in the playoffs this season. If they are, though, I think that definitely helps his chances. Defensive Player of the Year, it's kind of interesting, and it kind of goes why I'm not picking TJ Watt. I think the Steelers are not going to have as good of a year they did this past season. I'm going to probably say either Aaron Darnold or Chandler Jones. Dude, Chandler Jones, he was out last season. He's actually who I picked winning Defensive Player of the Year last year. He did not play a game because he got injured. But the 3 years prior, I believe he had 48 sacks in 3 years. That's a sack every single game. There's times you cannot even get to in a video game. And with having, J.J. Watt on the opposite, side of defense, on the other edge, there's times where, Chandler Jones might not be, double teamed and everything. He can just, go get a sack. So I want to say Chandler Jones for Defensive Player of the Year right now. As we get closer to the preseason and regular season, these predictions will definitely change. Let's see here. Rookie of the Year, that's really interesting. I'm not really sure. It really just depends what team has the best record. Trevor Lawrence, I think he right now probably has the highest chance, but, they might not have a lot of wins. The Jets with, Zach Wilson, I don't think they're going to have a lot of wins because the AFC East is a lot harder than people think. I don't know. I want to say Offensive Rookie of the Year, Kyle Pitts. I know they're not going to have many wins, but Kyle Pitts is going to have too good of a season.
I'm going with a dark horse. I'm going to take Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is going to take over the job in New England, and I think I'm going to go with the dark horse of Mac Jones. That's why I said I got to think about it because I think it's either going to be Zach Wilson or Mac Jones. Trevor Lawrence could have a good shot, but I just something in me thinks that Mac Jones is truly going to take over that job in New England, and I feel like Zach Wilson's just right there. And then defensive, I think it's going to be Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I think it could be Pitts or maybe Matt Jones. It just realistically, I'm thinking all the quarterbacks drafted in the first round. Matt Jones to me is definitely the one I'm picking the most. Defense, I would probably say Micah Parsons will probably win it, especially with Sean Lee being out and Van Der Esch is very injury prone. He's probably never going to be with Dallas next season. So it really, helps Parsons being a big piece of Dallas's future. So MVP, there's a couple players I really, really like. I'm not just going to give one name because it's way too early to just go ahead and, give out my MVP prediction. Somebody I really, really, really like, though, is Matthew Stafford. He's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league for years. If Jared Goff can throw for nearly 4,500 yards and with Sean McVay's offense, imagine what Matthew Stafford can do. Matthew Stafford, I think right now, if I'm picking somebody to win the MVP, he's definitely near the top of my list. And especially that goes back to, how many wins you have. The Rams are definitely the biggest threat to me as of right now to beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to possibly being Super Bowl champs this upcoming season. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are an extremely underrated wide receiver group, one of the more underrated wide receiver duos in the league. McVay is an absolute genius. Stafford, I think he will have a great year. A couple other people I really like, a couple of dark horse names. And I know it sounds really, really crazy. Carson Wentz is a dark horse. I think Perry Henry, with his former offensive coordinator with Philadelphia, the Colts have an elite offensive line. They have some really, really underrated, talented players in offense. And, I think they're going to win. As of right now, I would say they'll probably win the AFC South. Wentz, he did not have any targets in Philadelphia. He had a horrible offensive line. Worst offensive line than the Bengals. I mean, that shows you how bad their offensive line was. He's a dark horse. I'm not going to say he's going to win it. I think that's just somebody possibly keep an eye on. one other player I like is Kyler Murray. With all the weapons he has, an improved offensive line, I think the Cardinals are one of the more underrated teams, despite having all the talent. As of right now, though, my number one and number two is a toss-up. It just really depends what time of the day you're asking me and what day. They could switch 1 and 2. Top of my list, Matthew Stafford and Kyler Murray. Carson Wentz is a extremely dark horse.
I just don't see it with Carson Wentz. I'm gonna root for him. I think that would be a good that could be a person who could possibly win comeback player of the year, is if he has a really good year this year that I even totally forgot about until you brought it up. But whenever you mentioned the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it just popped in my mind. Did you see the 40-yard dash that they had that was like Justin Jefferson, Hardman, Ruggs, and Devin White? Devin White at a linebacker running a 4.37. To me, that's just insane. That's crazy. That's why I think that the Buccaneers are still going to be hard to beat this year. I mean, they got so many offensive weapons still. I mean, you got the GOAT and Brady. You got Giovanni Bernard that you're adding to Tom Brady. You're giving him probably the best pass-catching running back in the NFL, on top of Antonio Brown, who re-signed, Mike Evans, Scotty Miller, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski. Like, the talent there is just insane. I don't think I see another team beating them to win the Super Bowl this year. I think Brady's going to win another one this year.
Did you just say Giovanni Bernard was probably the best pass-catching running back in the league?
Yeah.
He's not even top 2 in his own division. Kamara and McCaffrey.
No, dude. Oh, okay, but what did the Bengals primarily use Giovanni Bernard as a pass-catching running back? You can't take away that he's one of the best pass-catching running backs in the NFL.
Okay, but you said he's probably the best.
Okay, but that's because Giovanni Bernard's my favorite player. I've been a Gio fan ever since he got drafted, and he is my favorite player. So of course I have Gio bias. But yeah, Christian McCaffrey's up there. But that's another person who could win comeback player of the year. You know, he almost wrecked my fantasy team by only playing 2 games last year. So yeah, I probably wouldn't have won my fantasy league if he had played all year. But yeah, Kamara is up there. I think somebody that could possibly put his name up there could be Joe Mixon this year without Giovanni Bernard taking the pass catching snaps from him. I think you could see Joe Mixon become himself as a top back to do some receiving. But I'm just excited for the NFL season to start. I think we're gonna have a good NFL season, and I'm really excited, man. I think it's gonna be a good year. I'm so excited to go back to Paul Brown Stadium and actually see a game this year. But yeah, I'm excited. I think football season is going to be insane this year with COVID last year and everything, decrease in stadium capacity. So I think it's going to be wild to actually be in a real live full stadium this year, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you mentioned Joe Mixon, and to me, somebody who's going to have maybe comeback player of the year. I think that's a really nice dark horse pick. Honestly, I know this is going to sound crazy. You really look at it, I would not be shocked if Mixon would win comeback player of the year opposed to Joe Burrow. And dude, there's something about Mixon with Frank Pollock. You know, he's back with the Bengals offensive line coach. The last year, Frank Pollock was the Bengals offensive line coach. Mixon led the league in rushing. In the AFC. In the AFC, we have an improved offensive line. It's not as sucky as people think. But, with all our weapons back, you can have some top secondary players or just get handed the ball off to a top 10 running back in the league. And I think Mixon, he's going to have a great year. I think that is definitely a dark horse for comeback player of the year. That's, I said Wentz was my dark horse MVP. Mixon is definitely my dark horse comeback player of the year. That's a sneaky pick to keep an eye on as we get closer to the NFL season. So, this kind of wraps up episode 4.
Real quick. My dark horse for defense player of the year this year is going to be Jesse Bates, best safety in the league, best defense back in the league. I don't care what you have to say. That is Jesse Bates. I know that Jesse Bates is so underrated and so disrespected by everybody for no apparent reason. I don't understand why they never want to include him in the top safety discussions, but that's just, we don't have enough time to discuss that. I know that you'll get really heated about it because I've got you. We've both been really heated about it, just the disrespect that he gets.
100%. Bates is not the number 2 safety. He's not the number 3 safety. He's the best safety in the league. It's not biased. It's not because we're Bengal fans. It's clearly just facts and it's stats. Go look it up. He's the best safety in the league. He's not, the second best safety in the league, behind freaking Minkah Fitzpatrick of the Steelers. I don't understand that. Some people have Minkah Fitzpatrick as the best safety in the entire NFL when he's not even the best safety in his own division. But, Bates being underrated. There's so many underrated Bengal players as we head into the 2021 season. It's going to be really interesting to see, who wins, some of these tough awards. That kind of about does it for episode 4 of 30-Minute Drill. So, Braden, can you tell some of our listeners who can follow you on social media?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok again at B__short.
Make sure to go follow Braden, on Instagram and Twitter. I'll put the links in the description below. Follow me, the Sports 200 Show, on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We would greatly appreciate it. Make sure to like this video and everything. We appreciate it greatly. Thank you all so much for listening. I'll see you next time on Sports 200 Show.